Hello, this is Ieolia back with a video. Today I'm just gonna kind of ramble on about like DAWS. Um, sorry, I'm gonna ramble on about DAWS. I'm not using. I'm using like Apple earbuds to my laptop right now because um, it's just too much of a pain in the ass to like set up. Like I just don't really have the time to sit around and like sync up audio with video and stuff like that right now. So I'm just gonna do this. So I'm just gonna talk about like some DAWs. Someone had asked me, some friends have asked me like a while ago, like why do I have Ableton or whatever, and do I prefer it over Bitwig? Because I've been using Ableton recently. So here's the thing. I'm a very curious person. It's a very easy for me to just be like, oh hey, I like this plugin or this DAWs, and then just like buy it, think it's a good purchase, then like maybe a week later realize I'm not actually using it and then refund it. I've done this with Reason. I've done this with Ableton. I haven't done it with Bitwig, and I haven't done it with uh, like FL Studio, obviously, because FL Studio was my first DAW. Um, but that's what I do, and then like that's kind of like a sign of whether or not like I actually truly like the DAW or not. Even for someone like say Cubase, I bought Cubase like a year ago, and I never even actually thought about refunding it. I just like stopped using it because knew like at one point I was gonna need like a quote unquote professional DAW, and I had no intentions then, and I still have no intentions now of ever using Pro Tools like for my personal works like willingly. So and if you compare them side by side, Bitwig and or I mean Cubase and Pro Tools, they have like the exact same features. I would even say in most cases Cubase has more or does it more conveniently. Um, so that's why I like my Cubase. Well, it's not because of that. I just like the GUI and the interface and the workflow and stuff a lot better than Pro Tools. Because Pro Tools is like craziness. But as far as Ableton goes, I've noticed that Ableton's good for people who basically are coming into the music production world and don't have like anything aside from like Serum or like Massive. Um, then it's a really good DAW. If you have like Silent, Serum, or Massive or something, and then you just want to like make music and like some, and then like maybe you have some like sample libraries or whatever, and then if not, like the sample libraries in Ableton are pretty good, but like then it works like nice, like it's a good DAW. Um, but if you're like me and you have many VSTs, like I have like Complete 10, I have Serum, I have like all of the FabFilter plugins. Thank you, FabFilter, for existing and getting me that stuff. And like yeah, so basically when I compare like a DAW like Bitwig and Ableton, and I take into consideration those sorts of factors that I have all of those things, I would easily say that like I'm I'm easily just gonna be like I don't really like Ableton. I'm just gonna work in Bitwig because Bitwig's workflow is to my like needs far superior. I bought Ableton just to try it basically, and then like just have it because like my teacher's always talking about how like so my school, like the teacher's like, oh, I love Ableton, like Ableton's good, and like down the road maybe I will use it for launchpad related things, depending, because maybe Bitwig's launchpad stuff won't be up as much, because I do believe in terms of latency, like live performance, Ableton is going to be like one of the better ones in that situation, because Bitwig unfortunately hasn't had the same amount of time put into it as Ableton because it just hasn't existed for nearly as long. But so for like live performance, I could see me using Ableton. I don't have any DAWs for live performance, like Cubase and FL and stuff. They're not really made for like low latency, like live performance sort of stuff like Ableton is. And then Bitwig's one of the DAWs that are kind of on its way, and I know FL has that feature, like the easily built-in feature and stuff. But yeah, and then so like yeah, like I said, Ableton, like if you get the blue version, the standard, it's really good. These are the effects it comes with. My favorite ones being easily like auto filter, EQA. Let's see, the gate, the glue compressor, grain delay is cool for making like stupid pointless effects. The limiter on it is just the limiter. There's nothing I can say about it. Multiband dynamic, specifically, basically only the OTT section. I put this like on all my drums, like the OTT, and I just like edit it. Their distortions are kind of cool. Their overdrive can give you like your standard like dubstep saw bass with like the white noise for chords, like really fast. If you just give it a saw wave and some white noise, whereas say like Fab Filter, I kind of have to F with the bands and actually get kind of sound engineering to get that sound I want. Whereas with overdrive, I don't have to because it's just like using the overdrive distortion. And then like their ping pong delay and their is good. Their reverb's okay. The reverb I actually really don't like. I've gotten really picky with reverb since I got Fab Filter Pro R, to be honest, though. So, and then like their tuners like super ridiculously helpful because like I don't have a tuning plugin. Well, I technically do because I have the UAD software, but then I need to use like an Apollo for it to work, so it doesn't really matter. And their vocoder is really cool. It's like these kind of plugins are really cool to have for starting a DAW, in my opinion, and that's basically what I would say. As far as like actually being like creative to your full extent inside of Bitwig or Ableton, I'm gonna have to say like no, because you can only have like 16 or 18 return tracks with the maxed out version. They do limit the amount of return tracks, and that's kind of like annoying for me. And see here, I have a group of say here I have a group has 2 serums inside of it. I really dislike that I can't put a group inside of a group, and that's like one of the biggest deal breakers for me inside of Ableton is that you can't put a group inside a group. I love to use my groups as routings. Like if I have some instruments and I want them to all go to the same place, why would I make another audio track and then like come in here and send them all when I can just like do this and it's done? That's one of the main reasons I absolutely love Bitwig is you can put as many groups inside of a group as you want, and you can have as many return tracks as you want, which means you can like basically go crazy with like making high quality sound, doing high quality sound design, because return tracks are like amazing for doing that. If you're trying to make custom reverbs for a snare or kick or hi-hats or drum sets or like orchestral, you're never ever going to put them on the same track. You're going to use sends and you're going to automate them, and you just can't do that in Ableton without like having to beat around the bush and use like basically audio tracks and stuff like that. Like it's just not my thing. So that's what drives me nuts about it. I haven't went too far into like sounds. I'm sure they're cool, but like not a fan. As far as it goes for like finding plugins, I'm not a fan of how they do the plugins, because you have to do like Command F, then like look away, then you don't see anything else anymore. Like I don't like this. I really like how Bitwig's works, where you have the search functions. And now we're gonna go over to Bitwig, and I'm basically just gonna talk about what I like in Bitwig. So in Bitwig, the reason why I like it so much versus Ableton is like the GUI and just the way it looks is so much nicer in my opinion. I just really do like this interface. One of my favorite things has to be the fact that you can like control your plugins and the way your PC runs so well. This is like the best DAW you could ever have for getting lost inside of making music and not having to worry about anything else. It's so good for that, hands down. The CPU you get, the performance, and the use of multi-threading that Bitwig makes very good use of multi-threading on your CPU versus like any other DAW, except for like Cubase and Pro Tools, obviously. And like, and then you have so much plugin management. You can have your computer run everything separately, which is just like so amazing. You can customize your own shortcuts. This is something I would kill for in like Cubase or something. It's like absolutely astounding that you can have like a total like shortcut hub. It's like amazing. In the audio stuff here, just like the way it shows you how things are set up is ridiculous. Like if I were to switch this to my Apollo Thunderbolt, I don't have the proper Apollo software set in right now, but like when I was doing recording, maybe it'll pop up here. Yeah. This was just like so simple, and it's just like right here, and you can take it away, add it, and then like there can be no confusion if you know this DAW. And then like when I'm introduced to things like Pro Tools and I look at it, things just look crazy inside of Pro Tools. I don't know if it's just because the way it's set up at a studio or something, but like it basically uses this sort of format right here, except instead of mono inputs, it's stereo, so it's basically 1, 2, and then it goes 2, 3, and it's down like that. So it's like your I/O settings. So it's like got a pretty nice look for all of this, and then like your stuff here, and you can do a recording offset, so you can actually lower samples for a recording, which means that you can work at a really high sample rate, and then when you press record, it just drops everything for you, which is like amazing. Which I'm sure a lot of DAWs have, but like this is still a cool thing to take into consideration here in this DAW. Your display situation and scaling is actually really good inside this DAW. It has Retina support. It has really amazing options for having like triple monitors. And then like again, one of the cool things is you can always have it so it starts as a template, and you can save as many templates as you want. You can set the default track volume, which is amazing, and like analysis caches and all this sorts of stuff. Like it has like all these like beautiful options. Again, you can do the group inside of a group, blah blah blah, etc. No questions asked. You can have as many sends as you want. Here, like effect tracks, and now I'm just gonna start hearing myself. And the colors in this are like gorgeous, and the contrast of like the dark screen really work here. Whereas when you have something like Ableton, I find it hard to like really see that automation, or not automation, the back, like because everything blends in. Like the background view here of the arranger just looks like everything else, and then like when you're in Bitwig, you can clearly see where your arranger is, and there's no confusions. And then same thing with like, this is what I think Ableton or Bitwig has over like most DAWs, is the automation factor of like there's no confusion when you're automating things. Like it's not hard to see. Oops. It's like very obvious. It's a blue line. It's all blue lines. It's actually a very nice color to use in contrast to the rest of it, is these blue lines, and then you always see the blue lines, and like all their animations the same color, and it's actually such a different color, and it has this like in the middle here, which really obviously points out what color it is. Easily enough, you hold Alt and you get like curves. Again, awesome. Press A and you have close-up automation, and you can do it per clip automation, so that way you don't have to worry about other clips. So this is cool because like if you really want to like get down and dirty with your automation, you can right here, automating alongside your like MIDI also is like really easy, which is like super cool if you try and do like cool pitch bends and stuff. And I believe there's even options for doing this sorts of thing with the MIDI notes you've placed. You can have this sort of like control in here, you know, like do these sorts of things. So for example, what do we got? Take it easy on me because I actually haven't used this that much. So I had thought, I haven't actually used this, so I'm not really concerned with that. But like, I believe that was supposed to be like, I'm not sure, but basically, I'm pretty sure you could do pitch bends on the MIDI. I probably have to figure out how to do that actually, but like, anyways, that's the point. You can like do your automation on the MIDI, which is really cool. It has some like ridiculous options here for like, so for example, like velocities and pressure for like MIDI equipment like launch pads is pretty good. You have a preset browser, so if I come in here and type in Serum, I can see all the presets I have for Serum. Likewise, if I press Massive, it will have like, oh well, if I had my own library of Massive presets, then it would pop up here, but I don't. That's cool. Your devices are here as well. Your samples are all nicely organized, and you have like your MIDI all separate. You can select like as many content locations as you want for plugins or audio or music or anything like that. The like this DAW is basically just so simply laid out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for like cutting stuff, and then you have like really fast D, E, or like F, and then like M for the mixer or A for automation, and these like work really well. Tab to get in here. The mixers, these here look really nice. I just like the way the bars in Bitwig look. Also, the caps lock to turn on and off. So if I press D now with caps on, I'm going to play a D. Sorry, an E. And if I press the caps locks, it's going to open and close devices now instead. So I really like that feature. The caps to turn things on and off. Really simply enough, there's a thing up here. It's like automation follows or it doesn't follow. It's very quick, turn off and on. Your grid options down here, very quick to turn off and on. Takes 2 seconds. If you want to turn off the auto scaling grid, there you go. Set it to what you want. Do your work. Do your thing. If not, you can leave it on, which I always do, and just zoom in, do your stuff, whatever. Nice and simple. The plugins, a lot of the plugins in here are like really friendly inside of Bitwig. Like they come with lots of like cool, silly presets that you can look at and like think about. And I think that's kind of like important for a DAW to have. And actually recording. Oops. Recording is really easy. In Bitwig, like I can just do R space, or like R. Oops, why isn't R working? Oh, because I have my caps lock on. Assuming you have if you actually had a studio setup, you would never have your caps lock on and use the keyboard, so you just be able to press R. Start, go. I believe you can choose count-ins here. Oh, you should. No. The count-in is always like 1 par, but you can do punch-ins and punch-outs like this. Punch-ins. Then you can. If you don't want punch-ins, they don't have to be there. I believe you could even set like arrangement loop. So I think you could even you could have like, let's see here. You can have I'm trying to think of the words here. yes, sorry, with the presets, I believe, like, because you can make your own shortcuts. I mean, if you look for like the action, do loop, Command L. So then you have, or toggle arranger loop. So then like what you can do is be like, so like maybe I want to toggle arranger loop. What does just L do? Just L does nothing. And if we come back here, type in loop, we see Command L should loop a selected region, and then you know what? Maybe we'll just make this L. And it's already assigned to something for the clip launcher that I'm not using, so it's fine. Type in L if I want again and check. It's fine. Cool. So done. L should turn that off and on. That's helpful. Say I'm working in like a finished project. Oops. I have multiple sections of the song. I should be able to type this, Command L, and now I'm just looping that. Very helpful. L if I want to unloop and keep on moving with my day. Like just having your own hotkey system is like a whole game changer for having a DAW that does exactly what you want it to without like any questions asked, which is really cool. As far as like audio editing goes, audio editing is really nice versus Bitwig or Ableton, I'm sorry, in my opinion, because when I import something like a impact, sorry, riser. So let's go up, let's say I'm making drum step, and I'm gonna go up to like 174, and I throw in like something that was made at like 180. Or sorry, 128. So here's the first thing we need to think about here. It didn't care that I just tried to throw something in there without having a track. It knows if it should have a track or not. It knows, it can tell by if it's a WAV or MP3 and such, if it should give it audio or a MIDI. And then at the same time, does it really matter? Because I can still put a serum on here and play serum on this track right here and still have my noise. So like if I'm the good thing about that is like obviously it's like FL Studio. The thing that makes one of FL Studio one of the most like freer DAWs is like the fact you can have two things be on the same track and undergo the same type of processing. Now they both have the reverb, no problems. Ableton will not let you merge tracks like that. Will not assume you want a track if you say we're full here on audio tracks. Okay, but I guess you're never going to be full on audio tracks. But we have all these audio tracks. Like so. And then I come in here and I'm going to do this. But I don't want it on this audio track, so I'll do this. That way we'll be like, oh, you want it between the audio tracks? Sure thing. Again, something Ableton doesn't do. It's kind of unfortunate. Another thing is when I put audio in here, that's what it sounds like at 174, and it was meant to sound like this. Now, while it does sound smoother at 128, it doesn't sound as distorted. That could just be because there's volume automation. It's getting sped up. But there's options for like, you can stretch it or not stretch it, and then you can repitch stretch it or not. The repitch stretching will kind of save some of the audio quality, which is nice, but again, it will change the tuning, which can be really annoying. Stretch HD can kind of save you, and then again, if you change the grain sets and onsets, or grain size and onsets, you can kind of edit the audio as you go. What's cool is the stretching options in this is really cool because you can place down like all your onsets in here, come into stretch, and then grab the bottom of them and then do like onset stretching. Again, this is something you can do in Ableton, and I've compared the audio quality of Ableton and Bitwig, and there actually is no difference. So like Ableton isn't magically making audio cleaner. The only DAWs that have the big difference between audio in this sort of situation where you're doing onset stretching is Pro Tools and Cubase. That's a whole separate territory than what I'm talking about, so don't even worry about that. But like, basically when I import this noise in Ableton, it will like use the lowest quality and worst stretching ever. So it basically does like onset stretching automatically, which is horrible because if you import something like a noise, it's going to give you the weirdest onsets versus if you were to go and find a loop of drums and then throw those in here and stretch these drums. Well, no shit, it's going to know exactly where these onsets are and where it should be stretching stuff because it knows where these transients are, but it can't just find transients and like blank noise. So this is just like, it's basically just as accurate as snow falling from the sky. So like, it's going to sound like weird and it just sounds bad naturally, and you have to fix every single audio file, and it's horrible. That's why I think this is really good in that respect. That's all I really got. Like, I'm not going to do a rant on Bitwig aside from this, but like, I'm just going to say like, I do prefer Bitwig much more than Ableton for having the VST library that I have. I just got Ableton to test out the sound design, see what's up. It does ignite some different sorts of sound design ideas, but still my sound design has been far more successful in Bitwig, even though like everyone thinks it should be better in Ableton or something, or everyone thinks that like Ableton's just so like good. Like, I still get better sound design like in terms of like random sounds. Like if I have to design some sort of submarine, or if I'm making like Foley or whatever, I'm gonna use Cubase. But like if I'm gonna make EDM samples or something, I'm gonna use Bitwig because like it just works better for me. Yeah, that's the end of this video. It's probably really long, but that's it. What I got right now. And then sorry for that live studio video I made. Well, I'm not really that sorry. Like, that was like actual work, like work. That wasn't just me like screwing around. That was actually work. Something I was being like paid to do, that I was just kind of like trying to show, but I'm not going to show like what I'm doing. I was basically just recording in Bitwig a song for a commercial for my school that I was hired to do for my school. So that was there. That's what I was basically putting on just in case people were interested, and I guess people didn't really care for it, which is fine. I don't care. Better quality videos are going to come here. This is going to probably be my last one. I might try to see if I can get another one out, but basically Christmas is coming up. I'm going home on the 13th to Canada, and I'm going to be hanging out with my family, then coming back with a computer that I can record me. I can do live streams and stuff again, like such things like that again when I get this computer back, basically. So that'll be really fun to look forward to, because then I can do music stuff here at home, or do work on sound design stuff for school that isn't for like work related things. So like a project or something, I could easily record me sound designing stuff and like Cubase here or whatever. So yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.